I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my baby, just cruising. I dig your vibes, let me take you home, I guarantee a night of fulfillment. No pressure, take your time, I ain't in a rush, baby, I wanna get to know ya. Can we kick some old school flow? Just let me know. Yeah. I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna go? I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna roll? I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my babe.
Welcome everyone to the G-Lew Show. I am G-Lew. It is Friday Night Live, and you know on Fridays we got interviews, and tonight I don't even call them interviews, I call them conversations, and tonight's conversation will be with a very special guest. The homie Dylan Garcia is live in the building. He is a songwriter, he's a producer, he is a college graduate. I mean, this guy does so many great things, and another great thing he did is bless us with his presence tonight. So tonight we have a special guest again. The homie Dylan Garcia is coming up right after this. Let's get into one of his singles before we bring him in. As you heard in the beginning, this is Slow Motion by Dylan Garcia coming up next on the G-Lew Show. Let's go.
I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my baby, just cruising. I dig your vibes, let me take you home, I guarantee a night of fulfillment. No pressure, take your time, I ain't in a rush, baby, I wanna get to know ya. Can we kick some old school flow? Just let me know. Yeah. I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna go? I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna roll? I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my baby, just cruising. Flip the switch, you know I like it, baby, when you drop them hips and you put it all up on me, baby. Slow motion, yeah, you taste good too, slow motion, you got me acting a fool, spitting game like a youngster, yeah, my game on point, yeah, I'm feeling so good, yeah, you made a good choice, yeah, we huffing and puffing on the bed, yeah, we huffing and puffing on the bed. I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my baby, just cruising. I said freaks come out at night, freaks come out and play, yeah, I've been there, done that, I'm still running this game, now I'm just cruising with my baby, just cruising. I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna go? I said I'm manifesting dreams and reaching goals. Tell me, baby, do you wanna
Yeah.
And you know this, man.
Okay. Without any further ado, I am G-Lew. Welcome everyone to the G-Lew Show. And tonight we have a very special guest. Like I told you before, he is here. The homie, Mr. Dylan Garcia. Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing?
Friday Night Live, the G-Lew Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Garcia is a building, baby.
Yes, sir. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How about yourself, G-Lew?
I can't complain, man. I can't complain at all. Happy to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Me too, man. Me too. Happy you guys hit me up, man. I've been hearing about your show. I've been seeing you guys on social media, and then now we're here.
We are here. Now, before we get started, man, I told the people a little bit, you know, who you are, but you can explain who you are a little bit better than me. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, please?
All right, man. My name is Dylan Garcia, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a human being. I happen to do music, songwriter, vocal producer, vocal engineer. I do all my own stuff. If I could categorize my music, I would say like funk and neo soul. And I live here in Coachella Valley, out in La Quinta, about 30 minutes from Palm Springs. Moved out here from Oxnard. I'm originally from Oxnard. That's where I was born and raised. Left Oxnard when I was 19 to go to college, and then bounced around all over the place after that, man. And then now I like to call La Quinta home.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Tell me what kind of got you. Well, before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself growing up, brother. Like, how was it? You said you bounced around. First, shout out to Oxnard. Much love to Oxnard, California. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about your background, man, growing up.
Growing up, man, I played little league baseball. Was always trying to do good in school. I was like the kid that like got his homework packet done from elementary school on Monday so I could play the rest of the week. That's when we played outside in the streets and playing tackle football and juggle ball on the basketball courts and doing all that stuff when I was young. I come from a middle-class family. My dad worked and retired from UPS. Shout out to my dad. He also, he's very inspiring to me because he's a union leader for the Teamsters. So anytime I need advice, man, I always can give him a ring because he plays a leadership role in an important organization. So I have a lot of respect for my father. My mom's loved us the best she could, man. And, it was, I had a strict childhood. When they said what time you had to be home, you had to be home. You had to live by their rules. And, really tough on me always to do my best. My pops was always really tough on me always to do my best, regardless if I was just doing school or on the baseball field playing football. But it was like, I'm going to explain, like, you had to be perfect. You had to be on point all the time as my dad's son. My parents' son, like me, the oldest, weighed a lot of responsibility. My brother was born. We're 4.5 years apart. But things weren't easy. And like my dad made us earn everything. It was like, you want something, you work for it, you earn it. I could tell you like, going into junior high school, see, I used to wear glasses all the time growing up, man. I got picked on all the time in elementary school. And then when junior high came around, I begged my mom if she could get me contact lenses. And then when I got those contact lenses going into 7th grade, it was like nobody knew who I was. I was a brand new person. Like all of a sudden girls started liking me, and it was just like this whole thing with the thing with they always made us earn our money. So after my 7th grade year, I had a neighbor that I would cut lawns in the neighborhood to make money. And one of my neighbors across the street, I cut his lawn. His family owned a recycling center. And literally I was working when I was 12 years old, man, at a recycling center, learning how to drive a forklift and a place where they're bringing dirty cans, beer cans. And it was because it was if you want these nice clothes that you see, you know, we're not just going to buy it for you. We want you to work for it. So, I mean, that's what I did after 7th grade and after 8th grade. And I always had I always like dressing nice, man. So I always had fly clothes. And it
Right.
was because I worked and earned them. And, you know, it really hit me, you know, how different I was raised when I got to college. Because, you know, I'm from Oxnard, but then I go to UC Irvine. I moved to Orange County. And it was like a huge culture shock because I'm used to seeing just nothing but Latinos and Chicanos in Oxnard. And I moved to Orange County and it was like, oh, this is a whole different world out here. And when I lived in the dorms and then when I moved off campus and rented houses with roommates, a lot of my roommates, man, just had parents gave them a credit card that they could use in college whenever they wanted, man. And I didn't have that luxury. Like while I was going to school, I had to work. And it was more or less childhood was making sure we could take care of ourselves, you know, when we got older. And Pops was strict, man. Pops always wanted us to be on point. Pops was he was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. He was a tough guy to please, a tough guy to make happy or at least impress. And you know, sometimes I regret it, like, damn, why couldn't Pop show some more love? But at other times I'm like, man, that made me tougher who I am as an individual, as a man that I gotta be. And you know, I don't regret any of it. I would like to say I had a great childhood. It was just, my parents were really strict on us and we had to play by the rules, get good grades in school, do our best on the field, whether we're playing baseball, football. And you know, that discipline that my parents instilled on me and my brother was what helped me get through college, man. Because, like I said, I had to work, I managed school, and then I'm surfing at the same time. I'm bodyboarding and I'm competing, and like there was just so much to manage. But having that strict childhood was able to give me the discipline to be able to do all that stuff while I was going to college. And you know, it was when I was young, 4, 5, 6 years old, when I had dreams of being an artist, dreams of singing. You know, my dad had a really great record collection from El Chicano to the BT Express to KC and the Sunshine Band, Kool and the Gang, Sade, Santana. I mean, my dad had a solid record collection, and I just used to be so like, I guess I'd use the word transcended by music because it just takes you to another world. And when I got to college is when I bought my guitar. And that was really the thing that changed everything. On top of already bodyboarding, like buying the guitar and teaching myself to play the guitar changed everything because it was like, it opened a whole new door of creativity that I didn't know I even had in me. Like I said, I was a jock, man. I played football, I played baseball at my first year of college at the junior college up in Ventura. So baseball was always part of my life. But then once I got hurt, I wasn't going to play baseball no more. I'm at college and I'm surfing all the time before school and cruising around campus on a longboard, skateboard. I'm playing guitar. And I mean, that's what opened everything, because it wasn't like I just picked up the guitar and I was automatically playing like a, you know, Paul McCartney or something. It was like I picked up the guitar, man, and I had to, like, I was in there beating on that guitar and trying to figure out how to play it until I could finally play a song, and then I would learn another song. And I just wanted, like, it really opened this part of me that, like, man, like, I want to be creative. Like, I used to write poetry when I was young, but it really opened this door of like, man, I want to be creative with my life. I want to express what I feel. I want to express what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and put that into lyrics and put that to music on the guitar. And that's all what it was all about. Like, if you would have told me, you know, back when I was in college that, hey man, you know, in the future, this is what you're going to, I probably wouldn't have believed you, because I didn't pursue it to, you know, we didn't have social media back then. So it was a completely different world, you know, and it wasn't about trying to be famous. It wasn't about, you know, it's so different now the way things are, that it was just about a guy playing guitar and just loving music, man.
Right. Right. What would you say was I know you mentioned your pops. My pops was inspiration to me in music too. That's why I learned a lot of my music and got my musical inspiration and background from was my pops. He's resting in peace now. But what would you I know you mentioned your pops his record collection, different things, but what would you say was maybe your because I know it seems like when you got to college is when you started taking the music serious, but what were some of your inspirations as a kid, like far as music wise?
Dude, Babyface.
Okay.
Babyface.
Baby
He had put out that album and he had that song Whip Appeal.
Whip Appeal.
Oh man.
Cause you
And
got
then
that
like,
whip
dude, because
appeal.
my dad would have the cassettes too, man. So he had the Babyface on cassette. And then I mean, I'll Be Sure. That was another cassette that I was listening to. My pops had Michael Jackson Thriller. But he was listening to like this band called El Chicano. He had all their records. And growing up, we were made to feel proud that we were Chicano. We were made to feel proud that we were Mexican American.
Right.
And the stories that my dad would tell me about this band and the inserts that they would have in their records, they would have these I don't want to say protests, but they had these. It was all written out and like what Chicanos need to do. It was a whole movement. It wasn't just about the music. It was about being Chicano and the sounds, because a lot of their songs were instrumental. The sounds, and I was just like, what is this? And when the guy's playing the organ, it was like nothing. I had never heard anything like it, and that's what I mean. I would stay home from school just to listen to records, and I would always put that on just to listen. Bum, bum, bum. And and then as I got older, Kid Frost started sampling these records in the '90s, and
Right.
and it was like, whoa, like other people know about El Chicano. Like I'm not the only black, and it was just like the music, because a lot of those songs didn't have vocals. Like it was just the music and what they were playing, and I was just like, man, you could feel it when they're playing the organ. You can actually feel it. And then I always had a side of R&B, man. R&B was always my thing. Like in high school, I mean, listening to Next and Jodeci and then when it was just Casey and JoJo, and you throw John B in there,
Right.
and then you throw a little bit of I used to listen to I used to always love going CD shop and having like Mario Winans and I mean, it was just the first concert I ever saw was Casey and JoJo at the Ventura Theater,
Wow.
and that was my thing, man. I would listen to rap music, but that was it. I was more of an R&B, get the ladies kind of guy. I wasn't,
Right.
I wasn't fully into hip hop like a lot of people were with like Wu-Tang, and you had Pac and you had Biggie and that whole era of music. I mean, I was more of an R&B dude. I was trying to get R&Bs. I was always trying to romance the ladies. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right. My man said he was a ladies' man. I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not. Um, what was it you would say because you said when you got to college, that's when you took it serious. You were into sports. Then you got the guitar. So would you say your first love was instrumentation, like playing the guitar? Or was you always a singer that just didn't sing? Like what was it that came first, music wise, for you, as far as you getting involved in it?
It was lyrics, because before I was dropping the R&B music, I was writing poems to girls that I worked with, and I always tried to drop some words. And then I was just thinking, like, man, if I buy this guitar, I can maybe finally put music to these words that I've been writing.
Right.
And but the thing was just learning how to play the guitar, like learning to play a song, like learning how to the first song that I learned how to play was by Sublime, was Bad Fish by Sublime.
Okay.
And then once I learned how to play that, then the other song that I learned how to play, because I never was really after to learn too many covers, because I wanted to do my own original music. But then the second song that I learned was by the Foo Fighters, called Everlong. And that's where you had to tune the guitar different and this whole thing. And once I learned those songs, because a friend of mine that was in a band that I really supported, uh, he showed me how to play one chord on the guitar, a bar chord. And he said, you learn how to do that, man, you'll figure out the guitar. So all I tried to do was just figure out how to play that one chord. For it took me like a week until like you get your hands, the pressure, your muscles in your hands build up so you can hold all the strings down. And it was like, man, once I could just start playing guitar, because it was like, man, you can just romance women with just the guitar. You don't even lead lyric. But it was it was about trying to learn to play guitar, because I would see my friends play guitar, and I was always just so like, man, why ain't I on stage? Why ain't I performing with the, like, it was like, why not me? You know? And then finally it was like, because music wasn't something that was pushed in my family. It wasn't like I don't have no uncles or cousins or anyone else that to lead the way. It was me. It was like, oh, there's Dylan now. He's buying a guitar. What else is he gonna do now? What's next? What's next?
Right,
You know? But at the time, man, going through school, man, I mean, going through a 4-year university is not easy. Like, you have a lot of responsibility. And that's what helped me keep my sanity was, you know, I get done studying, I get off work, and my roommate that I shared the dorm with, he would always go home. He was from Whittier, so Whittier wasn't too far from Irvine. He had a girlfriend back home, so he was gone all the time. I was in the dorm room by myself. What else am I going to do? You know, get some herb, play the guitar, and that was just my thing, man. That was just what got me through college. And then on top of that, surfing too, like boogie boarding was another that turned into a big part of my life. That led me to start traveling, you know, and that was, I mean, I'm the only one in my family like this. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's so reserved and get a job and do their thing. And I've just always been that guy that's willing to take a chance and do something new.
Hey, let me ask you this, Dylan. You mentioned you coming from Oxnard, then going to school in Irvine, UC Irvine. But you said you had a roommate or someone that was from Whittier. Did you get a chance once you were more in the area to explore and learn the culture of like East LA and more of LA?
I did not.
Oh, wow.
I did not, man. I just stayed in Orange County because I had to work. I was surfing. I mean, I really got exposed to lowrider culture as a young kid because my dad had a lowrider before I was born.
Okay.
He had a Caprice, and I want to say it was like maybe like 75 or 76 Caprice that he had. It was like special because it had the special kind of back window that it was like a limited edition back window that he got.
That's the glass house. That's the glass house.
Yeah. And
yes,
on
sir.
the Caprice.
Yeah.
So I was exposed to that like at a young age because we would go to car shows, you know, and then my godfather, you know, who when I did my confirmation, you know, I was raised Catholic, so when I did my confirmation, my godfather had like, he had the lowrider, he had the truck. Like, remember in the 90s and the 2000s when the 1500 trucks were really lit, and you could have the extended cab, and you get the void rims or the center light rims, and it was like that kind of. So he was really into that. So I was always exposed to it. And then when we go to car shows, you know, when he show his truck, I'd go with him.
Right. Nice. And the homie Stomp said you missed out, Dylan. There's a lot of girls in East LA.
Well, you know, we were out there. We were out there when we shot the video for Tell Me. I'll give you kind of like this out. So I cut a record with DJ Tony G. I actually cut 2 records with DJ Tony G and Ronnie King. And
okay.
Shout out to DJ Tony G and Ronnie, man. Those guys, man, we worked together. I mean, those were like sessions. Like, I got to hear stories about back in the day, like stuff that doesn't get repeated outside of that, you know, like all like just being around the history of music with those 2 legends in the studio at the same time. We cut 2 records together, and I shot a video for the first one. The song was called "It's a Vibe." The chorus go "Levantense," and the DJ Tony G, I would send him the video first, and he would leak it for me before the video would come out. And when he did that, he exposed my music to all of his followers. So then I started following everybody that liked the video, and then when he did the other one, and then so little by little, everyone's kind of like, who's this Dylan Garcia guy? Who's this Dylan Garcia that cuts the record with Tony G? And then it was 2022. And like I said, I connected with a lot of people through DJ Tony G and other people putting on events and car shows. And then I kept bugging this one dude that they were promoting a show that was going to be in Pomona where Kid Frost was going to be performing. Kid Frost was the headliner. And I kept bugging him, man, because you got to be persistent or people are going to forget about you. And luckily he said, okay, well, send your music to this person. And luckily the female, shout out to Miss Mamacita, because that's who heard my music. And she said this when I cut the record, tell me, she said, you perform this record, tell me you open up with this. You can come out here and perform.
Right.
And so I roll out to Pomona with my wife, and I'm performing Tell Me, and everyone's looking like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, we never seen this guy before. And then it just so happens this Lincoln Continental pulls up as I'm performing and starts dancing and hitting switches and doing the thing while I'm performing. And it was just like, whoa, is this happening? Like right now, like I'm performing and I'm singing out of the corner of my eye. And it was just like one of those God moments where everything came together. Lowrider's hitting switches, I'm performing a Lowrider song. And after that, it was like I started doing all different podcast interviews, got booked on a couple more shows out in the Inland Empire. And then, yeah, man, that's kind of how it led all to this stuff. It was like little opportunities that led to more opportunities down the road. And shout out to Angel Baby. You know, I got connected to Angel Baby, and Angel Baby was showing love, playing my music on his radio show, the Cruising Oldies show, which was on earlier.
Right.
And I met some cool people that were just down to support, man. And you know, I don't regret none of it, man. It's just been adelante después. It's just been going forward after that.
Hey man, how does it feel to just seems like you just came, I don't want to say overnight success, but it seems like you just came right in and was welcomed with open arms. You work with legends. Tony G, DJ Tony G, like the homie Ernesto said, is a legend. You know, he's a legend in LA, but a legend in hip hop, period, but definitely here in the West Coast, Southern California. I mean, he was here from the beginning, you know what I mean? And out of history. So for you to work with Tony G and for him to take a liking to you, and like you said, to get down with Angel Baby, shout out to Angel Baby, and come in and start doing shows and all these things. When I listen to your music too, you just sound like a natural, bro. Like the music I hear and heard from you, man, is dope. Like I could hear you on the radio. You kind of sound like a throwback guy. Like I heard already, like in the 90s. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you're really talented. You know what I mean? So it seems like, but for you to start late and to come into the game kind of with different musical backgrounds, but to bring it together with an R&B funk vibe, it seems like you're almost like a natural. Like this was just a God-given gift you had that you kind of was able to receive and took on. You know what I mean? But it just seems like you've already been here. So how does it feel just to come in the game and be acknowledged and accepted? And how does it feel? I mean, even for yourself, man, like, were you ever like, did you feel that you had it, or did you feel like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just giving it a shot, or did you know you had something?
Well, man, it was many years because like I met Ronnie in 2009, but I always went back and forth between rapping and playing my guitar.
Right.
And I would do reggae music. I would write reggae music because that was honestly this is the honest truth, man. I'm not that great of a guitar player, and the only thing I pretty much know how to play is reggae on guitar because it's really easy to play. Right. And when I linked up with DJ Tony G, we linked up to do a song on guitar. We were supposed to do a song on guitar, and I must have sat there for 2 hours playing all these different, getting down on trying to come up with songs. And DJ Tony G's like, Dylan, like, not in disrespect, bro, but I'm not feeling nothing that you're playing. And I'm just like, shit, man, there's my money down the drain, And right. And then Tony G opens up his laptop and just starts blessing me with all these tracks that he had made that were just on his laptop. And then from that moment on, because I had a conversation, because this was all during with COVID, like we were in the middle of COVID at this time. I was working with a guy by the name of Jaden Secor, man, really talented kid, one of the most hardest working artists that I know in the 805. He's been in Nashville. When I was playing guitar, we would get together during COVID and we'd have these studio sessions. And one of the last times we were playing shows together. He would be he'd be playing electric guitar while I'm playing acoustic. And I told him, I said, dude, I don't even listen to reggae music. And he's like, well, then why you play it? And I said, that's the only thing I know how to do on guitar, man. That's just the honest truth. And I said, but I would love to be doing like funk and like music that I loved growing up.
Right.
And shortly after that was when I met with Tony G. We had our session with Ronnie. And then it was kind of like it all fell into place. Tony's like, put the guitar down. And then it's like, wait, we did the first track, It's a Vibe. And it was like, wait a minute, this feels more natural. This feels more natural. This feels like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And after that, it was just off to the races. Like, to be able to get a session with DJ Tony G, because DJ Tony G hadn't worked with anyone for a minute when he worked with me. And everyone was talking like, who's Tony G working with? Who brought Tony G out? Tony G was kind of just laying low.
Right.
And, I hope it sparked a fire, because Tony G's working with Industry Music Group, and he's doing all the engineering and so I hope it light a fire back in Tony. But Ronnie was telling me stories like DJ Tony G's made people cry in the booth, trying to get me all worried and shit,
Right.
But it wasn't really that hard doing vocals with him. It wasn't. Like, we laid it down really quick. I had the vocals and I had written out lyrics, but the damn light where they had me, where they were drinking involved, we're having a good time, and the damn light that Ronnie had where I was at recording where the mic was, it was like halfway out. I couldn't see any of my lyrics. It was basically just all dark while I'm recording. So I just would look at the first line that I could see in the light, and I'd go off that first line and create everything off the top of my head for that one part we're recording. And that's how that song came about. It survived. And after working, I remember leaving that session and going back to the hotel. And I knew at that point, like, man, I was obviously good enough. Well, I didn't Tony G didn't make me cry in the booth, but I was obviously good enough to hold my own, especially with being around that caliber of a producer, that it was like, you know what, maybe I can really do this. Like, maybe this is the direction we're going, and maybe this is how it's supposed to work out. But knowing I could hold my own with DJ Tony G, and then we ended up booking another session a month later, right after that, to go back in the studio. And that was a good feeling, man, because even Ronnie called me like, man, you did good. And just knowing that and hearing, I mean, these guys have been on massive records. I mean, you think about Ronnie played keys on John B. and Tupac's Are You Still Down? Like, I'm in here having studio sessions with these guys, and it's like, I'm just like another one of the dudes. And that made me feel really good, man, to be accepted, like, at that level, by people at that level, that, okay, I think I can hold my own at this.
Right. Wow, man. And let me go back to this, because you said you first started playing guitar, and most people, like even me, I wish I would have learned instruments early and more things to add, to my musical background, but to learn how to play instruments and then start singing and things after that gives you like a full spectrum, a full, like, well-rounded in musical background. You know what I mean? Did you ever learn to play any other instruments besides the guitar, like the keyboards or anything?
Well, I got my MIDI controller. I try to play it by ear. But my first instrument that I ever learned was the saxophone.
Okay.
Alto saxophone.
Me as well.
8th grade.
Wow, because we had music class back then.
Yep. And I begged my mom that back then you had to rent to own the musical instrument.
Right.
And they didn't have enough instruments at school. They gave other kids priority to get the instruments. And my mom was just like, you better not quit. And I'll tell you what, man, I still got that saxophone in my storage right here.
Wow.
I still got the saxophone. It went, my brother did learn saxophone. I think even my sister did. And then my mom finally gave it to me.
Wow.
Probably when it was paid off. Probably took 20 years to pay it off.
Right. You know the thing about me with instruments, cause see, I got my MIDI, got the same one you got. I got a couple keyboards. I started with a saxophone, like you said, messed around with drums and all this, and then later on, when I got more into music personally, like got my own studio and everything, I got all the stuff. But I think with the instruments, man, it's the patience, and if you're not really just taught how to play, and like you said, you're learning on your own, the patience can wear pretty thin. And I'm just one that never had the patience, so I never fully learned everything, and then just the patience wasn't there for me to learn. How was it for you to learn? Like, did you learn on your own? Were you taught, and how was it like learning, going through that process and finally getting it all? Because like I said, for me it was a patience thing that I didn't have, so a lot of stuff with the instruments I would start but wouldn't follow through to learn it completely.
Uh, well, with the guitar, man, like I said, my friend just showed me one bar chord of an A, and then that was the only knowledge I got, man, to play guitar. That was
Right.
the only knowledge I got. My roommate played guitar, and he's how I learned how to do the upward skanky, kind of skanky skank on the guitar. He showed me how to get that rhythm, get that reggae rhythm, and that's all I did, man. You know what? I never got tired of it because it was just there. Like I never got tired of it. Like even if I sounded horrible when I first was starting and couldn't even play a note, I never got tired of it because I knew eventually if I would eventually learn and I'd be able to write that song, or I knew I'd be able to eventually learn enough to learn that cover song by Sublime, that song Bad Fish. And I remember, man, I thought it was gonna be bigger than I remember the first time I played that through and I sang it, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I did it right now. I finally did it. I had nobody in the dorm room by myself, but then it was like, man, I did it. I learned the song.
Right. Shout out to my mom. I got my mom in the chat tonight. Hey, mom. She said
What's up, Mom?
shout out to my moms. What up, mom? She said my dad. I think she spelled that wrong. My dad played that. Like I said, I got my musical background from my dad. My dad played tenor sax in a band. My dad was in a band and then later became a DJ and all these things. So that's my musical background came from. Far as you though, what's shout out to my pops, rest in peace. But far as you, like you said, you started with the guitar, then you moved to songwriting. How did you know that you had a thing? I heard you say you started with poems and I mean with writing for the ladies, but how did you know you had a thing for writing as well? Because that's a whole nother thing too. I mean, to start
Yeah.
writing songs in the R&B type, because you mentioned Babyface, which is not only a great artist but one of the best songwriters ever, right? So how did you know you had a thing for songwriting?
It wasn't until I learned that there was song structure.
Okay.
It wasn't until I learned, you know, you either got your 8, your 12, or your 16 bars in a verse, and then your 8-bar chord. Like I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't start learning that stuff maybe about song structure not until maybe like 2014. Like I was just I never had really arranging the song the right way. It was kind of just however I wrote it, you know, and I didn't have that mentality. I had that mentality where it was like, oh, well, I'm just doing something different. You know, I'm doing it different than normal. But then you realize eventually that, yeah, you doing it way different than normal. You know, it's not going to fit in. And I learned because a guy had mentioned one time, you need a bridge on a song. You need a bridge on your song. What the hell's a bridge?
Right.
You know? And then working in these studio sessions with this Rasta guy, he was the one that showed me, like, this is how you write it. So he showed me how to arrange this is how you write it. You have your thing, and he explained it. And then that's when I really started trying it. And that's when I was writing songs on guitar. Now, when it came to like R&B and what I'm doing right now, like the shit's just starting to flow really naturally. Like I'm really starting to feel like I'm getting into my own because when I moved out to the Coachella Valley, I noticed the energy in my studio and where I live. I didn't have the patience to sit down and write lyrics anymore. So I started just doing all my the ideas and what's channeling through me in the moment. So I got the mic on, and I guess you say freestyle, however, but I'm structuring the song kind of as a freestyle and getting these words instead of writing each word for word down and writing out a whole song. And I realized, because back then when I was doing it, I always felt like I was trying to fit in too many words. And now I'm just doing it off the top of the dome, man. Just what I feel like. And my songwriting has gotten so much better. I feel like I can express myself a lot better because I've been doing it so long.
Right.
And also learning how to sing. Like, no, I haven't had no formal singing lessons. I've just been experimenting with my vocal cords, experimenting with different sounds and different things. I'm starting to learn my voice as I keep progressing. I keep learning something new. And when I'm like, wow, I can sing this way and I can do this and I can get high right here instead of getting low, and all these different things are all starting to finally come to me. Like, I mean, this much time later, like I'm still learning. I'm still learning. What was the biggest like hack for me was when I worked with Tony G. I was like studying him. I was studying to see how he worked, because I'm like, man, well, I'm spending this money to get like, I want to see how he's doing it, because obviously he knows what he's talking about. Obviously he knows what he's doing to have these big hit records, and when we were so we recorded this 3 times. Okay, we did this twice. Like, I'm piecing all this information so that when I am working on my own and I'm not working with Tony or not working with Ronnie, I kind of got a framework of how to go about constructing my song. And just those sessions working with him is kind of led to all this, how good everything started to get, and with recording quality and songwriting and my vocal arrangements and the vocal production. It just all started coming after those sessions, man. It really changed my mind, everything about how I viewed music. And man, like, I'll always be grateful to Tony for taking that time. And I'm hoping maybe we work sometime in the future, but right now I'm just locked in and working everything on my own. I got my composer, I got a dude, I got my guy out, I got 2 people out in London that I work with. I got another guy in Italy. I just got connected with another dude based out of France. And, hopefully I can find great music to write to. Once I stop trying to do everything myself, like composing the music, playing the bass on the keys. Once I stopped trying to do everything, that's when everything elevated. Because I'm not the best guitar player. I'm not the best composer. I mean, I've tried to make beats. It's so foreign to me that it just doesn't make sense. But the writing and the lyrics and all that makes sense to me. But creating music, hitting these pads, putting it on the computer and trying to, I can't make sense of it yet. I'm hoping one day it will. But when I started using other producers and other people's music, it really lightened the load for me. So all I got to do is focus on my task, and that's writing, recording, and singing a great song, capturing a great performance. And I think at a certain point, you got to start delegating things to other people. Like, I read this quote said, "Do everything yourself until you can't do it yourself anymore." And that, that was at the time when it was like, okay, I think I need to start using other producers to get the music that I want.
Right. Hey, that's pretty dope, man, because I'm kind of the same way. Like I said, I've been around the music a lot, went around studios and different things, but once I really got into it, I kind of self-taught myself, like you said, got my own studio stuff and was doing it on my own because you don't have anyone to do it for you. You know what I mean? And it kind of encourages you to learn more. So you get everything, like you just said, learning how to do it, compose it, record, you know, some of the other stuff like I told you earlier, I didn't have the patience to do everything. I started making beats, all that, but I didn't have the full patience. And like you said, you realize that's not really your thing. I'm an artist, I rap, you know what I mean? So I put more of my focus in that. And like you said, people that make beats and do all these things, that's really what they do, even though you can make it happen. But once you figure that part out, and like you said, other people come in and help you with that, it becomes a lighter load. So I learned that as well. But at the same time, you learn all the basics of the studio yourself, how to compose. You can put it together. You can put a beat together, maybe sample, hit a few keys, and put stuff together where you can make a song. But like you said, once other stuff comes in where you have real beat makers and things of that nature, it makes it easier for you. But it's also better that you learned everything originally, so you know how the studio process works, and you can do a lot on your own. Like you said, if someone does give you a beat, send you a beat, you can make it happen and record it and do all the things yourself in the studio that you learn how to do. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Let me ask you this: when did you I know you got with Tony G later and all this, but when would you officially start really making music as far as putting the product together and putting the product out? Because you got some great music out. What would you say was some of your first productions and stuff that you actually put out, and what was the response? What up, Big Dev?
Back in 2008, when the mortgage business was crashing, I had worked in the mortgage industry when I got out of college, and that's what I was doing off and on.
Right.
And I had closed my last loan. Like, I was done. I closed my last loan. I think I got like 3 G's. And my dad said, because my goal was, I had a venue that was in downtown Oxnard. That was a music venue that they would serve coffee and lunch, but there was a music venue at night. And a friend of mine introduced me to the guy that ran the place. And he booked me a couple times. I had different guys back home that were making beats for me, and I'm rapping, and I meet this guy, and I did a couple shows just on my own. And then I had the idea. I said, wait a minute, would you let me throw a music night at your venue? Like, let me book the artist, let me get all this stuff going on. And he was cool with it, because when we threw the first event, I mean, it was going to be $5 at the door, but I didn't even charge anyone, because I just wanted the event to be successful for the first time we were doing it. And sure enough, I got phone calls like, nothing in downtown Oxnard has happened like this. And like, I was doing something for the city and giving an opportunity for other artists to perform. Well, when I closed this loan, my dad said, you should set a party and your money away. Why don't you get yourself some music equipment so you don't have to depend on anybody? And what he was intending was that I buy like a PA system so I don't depend on anybody to put on these shows.
Right.
But how I interpret it was like, shit, maybe I should go get a laptop and Pro Tools and that's what I did. I went to bought a laptop at Fry's, and then I went to Guitar Center and bought the Pro Tools set up. I had little 3-inch speakers and the whole nine. Like, and I mean, I remember when I just could get the microphone turned on, I was like, yes. Like, it was like the biggest accomplishment, because it's they don't give you much paperwork to tell you how to set everything up. You're kind of just setting everything up on your own.
They don't. You're right. Me the same way.
I got that microphone out, I was like, shit, that was like the coolest thing ever. I remember it. Then I had my own studio, so I was just making songs and I was putting on these events, and we were doing them once a month. My buddy Adam Santana, man, shout out to him, my graphic designer. He's still working with me to this day. He would create all the coolest flyers, and I was putting on this platform for all these other artists. And I remember at that time, everyone's rapping, so everyone's competing with each other. Everyone wants to be the top guy in the city and all that, and it turned into opposite from what I created, because other people wanted to start putting on shows and replicate what I was doing. And it was just a lot of stuff going on, man, where I said, you know what, the hell with all this shit, man. I'm over here busting my ass to give everyone a chance to perform and do something good, and you guys try to turn it into something evil because you want to replicate what I'm doing. It was just a lot of hating going on in the city. I said, well, okay, man, well, you guys forgot, I don't need to just rap, I can play guitar.
Right.
So I went back to play my guitar stuff. I ended up with that studio equipment, I recorded an acoustic album. It was called Addicted Melody. The artwork for Addicted Melodies was a picture that my friend drew when we were on the North Shore of Oahu. And my graphic designer did it. Back then, it was just iTunes and Amazon where you could get your music on. This was 2008 going into 2009. And nothing like it was now. I mean, I went through Reverb Nation to release
Reverb Nation. Hold up, man. You talking early days, because when I was starting too, like you said, it wasn't a lot of platforms. Reverb, you had sites like that where you could put your music out, and I definitely remember Reverb Nation. I put out music on there too. These are some of the early sites you could put your music out on through. Like you said before, I mean, iTunes was there, but that's when you officially had but Reverb Nation, it was a couple other sites, but I definitely remember Reverb Nation, man. You bringing back memories, bro. Go ahead.
I put out that acoustic album, man. It was just songs that I wrote and recorded in the room. Like, I played the extra guitars on it. Like, I just figured out what I kind of visualized what I need to do. I had a djembe drum that I would add to some of the tracks, and it was called Addicted Melodies, man. It had like 12 or 13 songs. Right. And I remember I just thought it was the coolest thing that I had music out.
Right.
You know, that I had songs out, and it was all acoustic. And at that time, I was living on my cousin's couch in Oxnard, and I was working this job, and I meet the contractor of the company, and he ends up offering. I was working with this foreman. The guy was drunk, shit fell all through, but luckily I ended up getting a job out of it, out of doing a little bit of this work. And he says, come, and I put out this project, and he says, come to Orange County and come stay with, he was trying to bring me on board. He wanted me to be his right hand man. He was a contractor for HVAC stuff, and I stayed with him. He eventually moved me to Newport Beach, and my cousin that I was crashing on his couch, I told him, I said, I'm going to move to Newport Beach, dude. I'm going to start a reggae band, and I'm going to get and moved to Orange County. Shout out to Richard Galegas. And
was all this after college?
Yeah, this is 2009. I went to college, and I graduated in 2003 from college. So we're talking years, years later. I find myself back there in Orange County, and Richard Galegas and Patrick Logan, we all knew each other from back in Oxnard. And Richard was living down in San Diego. I had another friend that was living down in San Diego, and Richard invited me to come to his house and record. And I had this one song that I wrote called, I think it was called Unconditional Love. I got to think of the title of the song. But we went down there and recorded, and he actually added some steel drums to it. We made this cool little track. And sure enough, this guy sends me a message on MySpace, and he says, I like your music, man. I think I could get you some shows. You got a band. And this is just from MySpace. And that's how everything happened, was this guy finding my music on MySpace, because that's what introduced me to everybody. And finds my music. We book he's like, we can get you on a show. I meet the promoter of Orange out there, Acropolis Promotions, Acropolis, out there in Orange County. I showed my music to the dude. He's like, yeah, if you can get a band together, we can get you a show. And so I called Richard, that's down in San Diego, that helped me record that song. I get a hold of Pat and just said, okay, we're going to play a show. First show was in Huntington Beach, the Blue Note Cafe. And we didn't practice, we didn't rehearse. Everything was on the fly. There were a lot of improvising on stage. And that was the moment, man. When we were on that stage. See, I didn't get this moment while I was rapping. I got this moment when I was playing guitar on stage, man. We had all my friends came from all over. It was like, he's finally got a show. He's got a band. Like, all my people were stoked, man. Right there on the edge, in Huntington Beach. It's not there anymore. Huntington Beach, and I want to say Warner, like before you get to Sunset Beach. You know where I'm talking about in Orange County, because you're out there in you're in
Long Beach, right next to Orange County. Yeah.
Okay, so our show was right there, man. And I had the moment on stage when like, this is what I want to do. I felt like this is what I was meant to do.
Right.
And we had a great show. We got booked for more shows. Next thing I know, I'm working during the week, and then we're playing shows every weekend. And one of the shows that we got on was the Warped Tour Battle of the Bands, and it was in Fullerton at the Slide Bar. And it was like you had to sell tickets, this whole thing. We didn't sell the most tickets. We hardly sold any, to be honest with you. I mean, I was new to Orange County again, so not too many people knew who we were, only the people that saw us live. But we rocked the shit out of that show at the Slide Bar. We placed third, and with third place came studio time. It was like you placed, so many hours of studio time depending where you placed on this at this Battle of the Bands. We didn't get selected for the Battle of the Bands, but we did get studio time. And the band broke up right before we were going to go to the studio, man. The night before we were going to go to the studio, I got into it with Pat. He had a bad attitude. The set sounded horrible. The drums were off beat, and I can hear all that stuff while I'm playing, and I ended the band. I realized they made it clear that they weren't on this journey with me. They were just helping me. So it was like, I don't need help, man. I need people on this journey with me.
Right.
And show up the next day to the studio by myself, and they're expecting a band. I'm like, well, the band broke up, man. All you got is me. And I got my studio time, so I'm here to record. And I cut a little, maybe a 4 or 5 song EP of all acoustic. They just let it run and recorded me, chopped up my songs, gave me a CD, and I left. But because I was there and nobody knew who I was this new guy that showed up. I created a lot of buzz in the studio. And I got a phone call later on that night from the owner of the studio's son. Hey, we heard you came down here. You were supposed to come with a band. This is that. And he's like, who are you? Like, who are you? I never heard of you. And kind of left it as that. Band's broken up. I'm playing coffee shops now. I'm playing acoustic. And same guy that discovered my music on MySpace hits me up, and he's like, hey, bro, there's this guy, Ronnie King. He's working out of California Sound Studios now. Look him up. Get a meeting with him. And call up the studio like, hey, I want to meet this dude, Ronnie. That's now he was going to be the in-house producer of the recording studio. And set a meeting with Ronnie, and this is a true story, man. I'm on my way to meet Ronnie. I had the day off. I drove to the studio. I'm listening to the song Are You Still Down by John B and Tupac.
Right.
Pull up to the studio, walk into the studio, and there's the first thing that I see on the wall is the multi-platinum plaque for that same song, John B and Tupac, Are You Still Down, while I was listening to it on the way to go meet him, not knowing he was on that track.
Wow. Yeah, like DD said, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's how me and Ronnie met, man. He didn't believe me back then. I had some DUIs back in the day, so I had a breathalyzer in my Isuzu Rodeo that I had for work. Right. And I bring him outside to show him, like, come on, man, you got to listen to this. And I have it on a dubbed cassette tape because I still had it was an old school rodeo, so it still had a cassette player.
Right.
And he hears it when I blew my breathalyzer, turned the car, and he hears music playing, and he's just like, "Oh, bro, like you weren't kidding. Like, who are you again?" And that's how me and Ronnie met, man. We've been homies ever since. And he's always put me in positions and connecting with people. So if I can do the work, I could win too, man. Shout out to Ronnie King.
I was going to ask you too. Sounds like that's kind of where Ronnie came in, but I was going to ask you, did you ever have a manager or did you get one later? And how did that work? Because sometimes when you find that, they can put the pieces together that you need, you know what I mean, to make it happen when you're doing it all on your own. You know what I mean?
I had a cousin that would always come with me to the studio. He was always watching my back. He was like, he was the one that made sure I was good in the studio. And when I had shows, he was always watching my back, my cousin Andre. And, but I did not have a manager. Actually, when Ronnie and I cut our first record, the label offered me a deal the very next day. And they had a guy that was hanging around the studio at the same time, who was managing Sleepy Brown. Well, that's what he said. He said he was managing Sleepy Brown.
Right.
And so I went in, man, with a management deal and a record deal, all after that one song.
Wow.
And, they had a lot of high hopes, but see, something I was dealing with in my 20s, man, like started happening like in my early 20s. I started having these like bipolar episodes, but I didn't know it was bipolar. I didn't know what was going on. I started having these mental health issues. And, around that time, I was living on my own, uh, just working. But when you don't get this stuff and it goes on for a long time untreated, it eventually keeps building up and building up, building up. And so about 2 weeks after I signed that record deal, I find myself waking up in a mental hospital.
Wow.
And, not knowing that I was in a mental hospital. And then when I woke up, they're telling me they didn't give me an injection as the medication. But like I said, I was freaked out. I was in one of these episodes. I didn't know what was going on. Getting a fight with all the hospital staff. And then they gave me this injection and I wake up and I'm normal. Wake up and I'm normal. Like, man, this was one of those episodes that I was having all these years that didn't go away.
Right.
And it went away with the medication. Maybe there was something wrong that I always thought was something. But back then, I mean, it was called mental illness. It wasn't like mental health matters and all this stuff. Now
Right.
it was like, it was
Right,
just
right.
still.
Because not to cut you off, because that's a trip, because now we hear a lot about mental health and it's a thing now. But I know back in the day, I was talking to someone else about this. People came up and had different issues. You knew people that had certain issues or whatever, and you would just either we would write it off as they're crazy, they're tripping, or we just didn't know. But like you said,
Yeah.
now mental health is like a really a thing. So this is something, did you realize later that you had mental health issues, or did you before just write it off, or did you not know what it was, or what? Because like I said, this is a thing now, and it's really people treat, this is the thing that people get treatment for, and it's really a thing. But back in the day, we didn't know what mental health was like that. You know what I mean?
Nah, man. I was having these like episodes where like I would get these crazy, I want to call them even like evil spiritual episodes, man. Like it was more like of a spiritual experience than anything. It was like one of its most scariest thing. Like if I can explain it, as if you're gonna die and you just don't know when it's gonna show up, but it's following you. And these episodes I was having were going on it started like I think ever since I was 24 years old. And but they would go away on their own. Like I'd be able to chill out for a couple hours and it'd go away, or I go to sleep, I wake up normal, I wake up and it'd be gone. But then at that time it had gone on for so long where I just kind of ignored it. I just kind of didn't talk about it. I didn't tell anybody. Everyone always said I was crazy. Everyone always said I was crazy. It wasn't until I could actually put something what it was, until when I finally got medicated in the hospital, when I realized like, oh shit, man. Because I would sing about in that first album that I put out, that acoustic, I would sing about having these crazy episodes, having this crazy stuff. I would write this, and these were in my songs. But I couldn't just go up to somebody and say, like, how do you explain it to somebody, especially you don't even know what the hell's going on?
Hey, did you ever have any, like, I know you spoke about obviously drinking issues, you had some DUIs, we all drink. But did you ever have any drug issues, like before you take any crazy shit? You didn't hit no sherm or anything? So
no,
what? Just naturally.
Nothing like it was just, I was just naturally like on a sick one.
Wow.
And you can ask my friends down and say I was always the craziest one, man. I had to be the loudest at the party, always, and I just had a very loud personality.
Right.
I mean, we partied. I mean, I partied like everyone else. Like when I lived down in San Diego, or like, I always smoked herb, but it ended up being some kind of chemical imbalance, because when I got out of the hospital and I'm back normal again, and I call my label, I'm good. I ended up performing at the House of Blues 2 days after I got out of the hospital at downtown Disney. And then I had my follow-up visit with the outpatient doctor, And see, they thought I was on some kind of drug trip, but it was weird because the doctors tell me, well, if you're not hearing voices, you're not feeling this stuff, then it's safe to take you off medication. Well, when he took me off medication, that's when the real stuff started happening. I was worse than I was before when he took me off the medication. So this is around the time when I met my son's mom. My son's mom's like, you're being crazy. I can't handle this shit. She drops me off of my doctors. I see the doctor, and all I could say was, I mean, because I'm in another delusional world, all I could say to the doctors was, it's bad. It's bad. And so instead of putting me on medication that stabilized me in the hospital, he wanted to try something else. Like all psychiatrists want to try their own method and want to try the meds they use. And he put me on something else, and it made me like, it made me flat. Like it took the life out of me.
Right.
I stopped playing guitar. I changed my phone number. I didn't want to talk to the record label. Felt like a big disappointment. Felt like I let all my hometown, everyone was rooting for me that I got this record deal. And man, I blew up from 160 pounds to 220 in 4 months.
Wow.
Blew up from the meds, eating Jack in the Box, just sitting in front of the TV, paranoid, not good. And it wasn't until I got up to 220 that the doctor's like, oh man, looks like you gained weight. And I'm like, dude, I've been weighing in 20 pounds heavier every month I've seen you. Why aren't you paying attention? Like that's the one thing that I speak out most about mental health advocacy, man, because you don't get the help you need unless you're fighting for it. And I had to fight. Like I fought the Ventura County health system. Like I had to fight to get the right doctors. And that's why our this whole mental health situation is so messed up, because you got psychiatrists that don't even want to be there. They're just visiting their patients, giving them the same meds. That's it. There's no connection. There's not enough effort put in, man. Like I could have been so much better. And then the thing was, they misdiagnosed me as schizophrenic for many years because I was having these delusions. The first doctor that gave me the wrong meds that made me get to 220 pounds put me down that I'm schizophrenic. So the whole time I'm not even being treated for bipolar. I'm being treated for something else. And that's why these meds never really worked out.
Hey, do you think, not to cut you off, let me ask you this, because sometimes I hear about this, like you said, sometimes you're going in and getting treated, right? But now they're putting you on different meds and all this shit you never took, which could make it worse, right? Because now you're on, either you get addicted to the meds or they throw you something they give you that throws you off even more. And now it's more and more because, okay, let's try something else. Let's try this. But this has you with a different episode. Do you think that helped or hurt you more, getting diagnosed or whatever they diagnosed you with and getting on all these different meds? Obviously had you gaining weight, it had you tripping and paranoid and what's the word, where you didn't want to deal with anyone, you know what I mean? Like, you think that hurt you or help you? Oh man,
that ruined me, man. That being on that wrong medication ruined me, man, because I gave up. I remember sitting there on the couch, man, 220 pounds, just waiting for sitcoms to come on, just basically like, damn, this is what my life turned to, like shit. Like this is what it turned out to be, man. And that really, because of being on those wrong meds, like I said, I changed my phone number. I didn't even talk to the record label. Like I had a full-on record deal, man. Like they were all behind me, all the way behind me, money behind me. Everything was just like, man, we got this guy. And I mean, and I even want to pick up my guitar. That shit crushed me. That crushed my spirit, man, because I had to start from scratch. And then when they switched my medication, where it didn't, one of the side effects wasn't weight gain.
Right.
It made me feel a little bit better. I started playing guitar again. I wrote songs. I reached out to the label again. But after all that shit that went on through my goddamn head, the PTSD now, having these flashbacks of what I went through when I wasn't good and everything. Oh man, like those were some of the toughest times of my life, man, because I just thought, man, and then I find out I have a kid on the way too. I have a son on the way, and I'm like this, like, yeah. I was like, God, what did I do, man?
Hey, Dylan, let me ask you this: where was your family through all this? Because I heard you say early on you had a good connection with your pops. He was strict. You had it seems like a good structure, family background. Where was not only throughout this when you're being diagnosed, but even I didn't even ask you this: how did your pops even feel when you started doing music? And because obviously you graduated from college, not sure what you did after that, your career, but it seems like you took music more seriously. So where was your family through all this? How did they feel about your music career? But then now all these things going on with you mentally. Like, where was your family throughout this?
Well, when it came to music, man, uh, they could have been a lot more supportive. I could say that, you know, um, a lot of the support had to come from myself. Uh, it was more like get a real job, you know,
Right.
get a real job, get a real job, you know. Oh, you think you're gonna be famous? Like it wasn't. And then to be honest
They
with you,
didn't take
man, when
they
I
didn't
was
take the music serious. It's
they
safe to
didn't
say
take
they didn't
me
take.
they didn't take it
Oh,
seriously. They didn't think it was something, that was for other people, not for me. Other people
right.
do it. They didn't want their son to choose that path. I actually went to school. I studied criminology, law, and society, and a minor in history. I actually went to school so I could go on to law school afterwards, but I didn't. I didn't. After once I first started going to UC Irvine and I saw how much people were studying to go to law school, I said, "Man, I ain't got time to study like that. I got
That's
to
a
work."
long road, right? You have to go through a lot more uh, years, right? I
Yeah, I
don't know
would
if you
have to
did.
go on another 3 more years after I graduated.
Right, right.
But then when the mental health stuff started happening, man, it was like it was kind of just one of those, you got to figure this shit out yourself. And that's what it was. I mean, me and while my son's mom was pregnant, we got a place together. We were living in Costa Mesa, but I wasn't doing good, man. And then once I switched medicine and started bringing some life to me and started getting back, I'm like, okay, it was the meds. Then I have this. Now I'm on this mission to lose 60 pounds because I just put on 60 pounds, and it ain't easy to take off 60 pounds, man. And and that's when it just started the journey. But when they took me off the meds, when I had that outpatient visit, man, that messed me up even worse than I was off. How I was even off before I went to the mental hospital. So it really, like, I had to learn how to live all over again.
Right, right, right.
Learn how to be around people. Learn how to, not feel awkward. Like I felt like I had a stamp on my head that said mentally ill. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like I had like you have a stamp that people could see it through you. Like it was
Right.
just one of those things, man, where it took a long time to be able to accept it. I think that's one of the biggest things. I think is acceptance when it comes to mental health. That's something wrong. There are ways to get better, but like I tell people, man, you got to fight for it. You got to fight. Like if you feel like you're not getting the mental health treatment that you should be receiving, you got to fight for it because, uh, it took 9 years,
Wow.
9 years to finally get this shit sorted out, like to get me solid. And that didn't happen. That happened because I asked my I asked my surgeon when I was having hip surgery to get a psychiatrist to see me when I was in the hospital in LA. And he said he was going to get one of the best doctors to see because he knew I was struggling. And he knew I told him, man, I'm trying to get better, I'm trying to live my life, man. And I'm not getting the help I need. And this doctor in LA took some blood work, came back, gave me some medication. Take this, I think you'll be good. I wake up again. Holy shit, I'm normal. How long was I crazy for? How long was it this time? And uh, I made a promise to myself in that hospital room recovering from my hip surgery that I told God, I said, I'm gonna do everything I gotta do to stay good, man. I don't want to go backwards no more. And
Hey, not to cut you off, I seen in your bio too that you were into fit. Where you got into the fitness? I seen was that wrong? Working bodybuilding and working out. Where did your fitness journey come into play?
that came into play around that time, man, because I ended up getting assigned a new psychiatrist who was like I'd see him over Zoom, and he
Right.
was really holistic about it. He was really like, because the doctor in LA got me good, came back, got the new doctor. He even said, you know what? He was the one that said, I don't think you're none of this shit that they tell you, man. I honestly think you're just bipolar, and because you're too hyperactive, you're too on point. You don't seem like somebody that's you seem like you're just, ugh, you know. And he started telling me, man. He said, "You want to feel better? You're not going to do it sitting on the couch taking the meds. Like I'm giving you the meds so you can start working out, get your ass in shape. I'm not talking about going walking around the block. I'm talking about working out and putting yourself to work, man. It's going to make you feel a lot better. I'm not going to give you anything for anxiety. For your anxiety, I want you to work out."
Right.
And that's what started everything, man. And because my weight always fluctuated. After that one time, I went up to 220, man. My weight fluctuated, especially when you're drinking too, man. You put on weight, you're drinking beer all the time,
Right.
and and yeah, man, that's pretty much how all that went down with the mental health stuff, man. But it did take 9 years, and I do like to say I had to learn how to live again, man. Because when you're all freaked out, you don't want to be around people. To learn how to put yourself in those environments again, man, it took a lot of work, a lot of work with my head,
Right.
a lot of work with my spirit, and then a lot of work just being able to accept me as me.
Right, right. Hey, let me ask you this, Dylan. Not to get personal with you, but where were you through all this spiritually, or was there ever? I heard you say earlier you were raised Catholic, and things, but have you ever had any type of spiritual background, brother? Like, throughout all of this, throughout your journey, has there ever been any spiritual connections with you?
Yeah, because when I wasn't doing good, man, I started going to the church in Orange County, Saddleback Church,
Okay.
the Church of Rick Warren. I had a friend of mine that I met through a surfer buddy of mine, and he said, "You live in Orange County, and I'm telling him some of the stuff I'm going through. He said, "Go to church, man. Go to church."
Right.
I started hanging around the campus over there, going to service as much as I could. Um, but I mean, you can see where my head's at because when I was on those wrong meds and I finally got well, the first song that we were going to record with the label again was called Devil's Playground. So obviously you could see that that's where my mind is at, because
Right.
I felt like I was fighting with the devil, man. I felt like I was fighting spiritual forces. Like I didn't always feel like it was just some mental health thing. I thought it was more of like spiritual attack on me too all the time,
Right.
you know? And now, man, I got my next song. It's called You Gotta Feel It in Your Spirit. And you could say it's a Christian song.
Right.
But it's a song that I wrote thanking God, man. And it's coming out August 12th.
That's beautiful.
It's my next release. And it's got a line that says, "Everything I survived that was meant to destroy me, you were the light of my life. Everything that I survived that was meant to destroy me, you were the light of my life." And I can't wait till this song comes out, man. It's something completely different that I've done. It's done to like an R&B beat from one of the producers that I work with out in London. And I can't wait to put this one out, man. Actually, tomorrow morning, what I'm gonna do first thing in the morning is go shoot the video to this song by myself with selfie stick and do it in the desert, man. It's gonna be really cool, man. And this song is just a big thank you to God, man, because I know that I couldn't have gotten through it without God. And once when I started putting my focus on that, that's when I started getting better, man. And in that
That's
hospital room, when I made that promise to God, like, God, like, I will do whatever I need to do to stay good.
right. Right. Hey, that's beautiful, man. I'm glad I asked you that. I didn't want to, sometimes you don't know where people are with that and want to offend you, but
Good,
I'm glad
man.
I asked
God
you
is
that
good,
because
man.
God is
God
God
is
is
good
good, bro. And
all the time.
God is what really what you know what I mean through all our setbacks, things we go through. He's the one that's gonna be there when no one else is, bro. You know what I
Yup.
mean? So I'm glad that I even asked you that, and I'm glad that you've gotten that spiritual connection with God, bro, because no matter what any doctor says and all these things they put you through, God always has the final say so, bro. He can fix things that doctors can't fix, bro. So I'm glad you got that spiritual connection, and I'm glad you're even making music, you know what I mean, now getting that connection with him as well, man, you know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing, bro.
I wrote that record. Um, have you ever seen the movie The Forge?
What is it?
The Forge?
No, I don't think I've seen that. No,
You
can't
gotta
say
check
that I
that out.
have.
It's on Netflix, man. Uh,
Okay.
and this is around February. Song came out. It's a great movie, man. It's about this guy changes his life, becomes a Christian man. And when I have my in-laws staying with me from Argentina,
Right.
and when we were leaving, we were in Hobby Lobby, and we were leaving Hobby Lobby. I saw the book for the movie, The Forge, the book, and I said, I got here. My sister-in-law bought it for me, and I'm reading the book, man, and it's like, but while I was reading, I was still drinking, every other day, and the book's about changing your life. And one day I'm reading the book, and I said, I feel like I'm such a freaking hypocrite. How am I reading this book about changing my life, but I'm not changing my life? What's the purpose of it? And it was coming up to the end of February. It was going to be the anniversary of my brother's passing in March. And I said, you know what, man? I'm going to stop drinking, because I in the year before pretty much drank the whole month as an excuse because it was my brother's anniversary month. I didn't want it to be the same way this year. And I said, well, I'm reading the book, my brother's passing is coming up, and I want to go through it sober. I want to go through it not all drowning my feelings. I don't want to go through it all drunk, And plus, I got a new job too. I had just got hired for a new job, so it was like I can't be showing up hungover. I can't be showing up smelling like alcohol from the day before. Like, I got a legitimate job now,
Right.
and all these things happened at the same time. It was like as if God was saying, like, just follow the directions and everything will be all right. And and and, and now I've been at my job. It's going to be coming up on 5 months. Um, I haven't drank. It's 140 days today. No drinking.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I met a pastor out here where I live in Coachella Valley. That's even another story. Like, just ran like,
Oh, hold
God's
on,
gonna-
hold on. Not to cut you off and even switch, but I heard you say earlier, Coachella Valley. Living there, have you been able to experience the Coachella concerts and all that? And I'm sure it would be a dream of yours to play there one day. But have you been able to experience
I've
that?
never gone to Coachella, man.
Okay.
I did when I was doing deliveries for Uber Eats and Walmart and all that, man. I did drop off a lot of food to people that were trying to get to the show the next day. But
Okay.
the goats, I drove by it. I would drive by it, especially with my job now. But it's always been a dream to perform Coachella, man. That's like the end goal. When managers had asked me, what's your goal? I said to play Coachella. That was usually the first response.
Right.
But I have not experienced it yet. I'm getting to know more people out here in the community and in the Coachella Valley. Really great people that I've been meeting, especially since I stopped drinking.
Right.
There's been hella new people coming into my life that are like such a level up, and from what I'm used to, and God's been putting the right people in my path, man. It's just like it was like God saying, "You're finally gonna listen." Like even now, man, 140 days in, I looked at myself in the mirror this morning. I was laughing and looking at myself like, man, I look so different from how I did like months ago. Like, wow, like this just did a whole transformation. It's on that point now where it's automatic, where it's not even like, yeah, sometimes I want to, like even tonight, I'd love to get all faded after tonight's show and, rock out and party, but I just don't do that no more, I just don't do that no more.
Right.
I would love to. I got beer in my fridge if I wanted to. That's why I even leave beer in the fridge just to test me even more, to make it even a harder test. Just nah, we don't do that,
Right. Hey, you know what though? The beautiful thing about that and learning these things about yourself is knowing, your triggers or the things that, because we all got things, and I'm sure we all think we're good, we're straight, but we know our devices or our triggers or the things that we know that can take us down the wrong roads. And like you said, that's the first part of it, admitting that to yourself. Because if you don't do that, you'll keep doing it and say, oh, I'm okay, I'm good and all that. But we have to know what things that aren't good for us. You know what I mean? So that's the first step, I think, in doing that. And just like you're saying to yourself, what it is. Not drinking is good for you. You know what I mean? So
My
those are
best
part of
friend,
the biggest steps.
go
You
ahead,
know what I mean? To balance things yourself.
have self
Go
control,
ahead. I'm sorry.
man. And
Yeah.
I was chopping it up. I was in LA on last Friday, and I was chopping it up with my best friend um, before I had to go do my thing. And, because he's heard me say before, oh, yeah, I'm going to stop drinking, and then I'm drinking,
Right.
maybe 10 days after I'm sober. Like he'd like, so to tell him, yeah, I got like 140 days. He's like, he's like, he's like, did you ever think you go back to drinking? And I said, I'd love to get off, I'd love to go on a sick one tonight when I get back from LA, and, but he's like, bro, but I think being sober is your superpower. And that hit me. That hit me good. That shout out to my friend Bernard, man. That hit me good when he said, I think being sober is your superpower, bro. Because look at everything you're doing. Like this is like my fourth week in a row of like having stuff, because I had I had a show back at the end of June, and then the beginning of July, and I was in LA doing a thing, and then I'm doing my thing with you right now, and it's just like, man, I wouldn't have been able to stack all this stuff on my calendar if I was still
Right.
wasting time drinking.
Right.
And I
But,
like this guy. I
but you
like
know
the
what?
guy that I am now.
And that's beautiful. But like I said again earlier, that's the best thing, is realizing these things and coming to that realization with yourself. Because sometimes too, even say, for instance, you stop drinking, and even probably friends you hang out with that probably know you have an issue with drinking and probably hate when you're on a sick one, right? But at the same time, those same friends, and even you, say if you go out somewhere or hang out, um they almost kind of miss that guy too, even though they're happy for you. Some people, and even yourself, like kind of miss it because you don't think you're having the same fun, or you could be the same fun guy without the drink, right? So you fight that battle too. Like, man, I can't, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you turn up, you feel more like, if you're at a part or wherever you're at, you feel that that's kind of your superpower too, to help you turn up and be more, outgoing and talkative. So
Start
then
pop locking this shit.
yeah, so then when you're not doing that, you don't feel right, but that's best for you though, right? So you kind of fight that
Yeah.
too, right?
And I think this time getting sober was about me making the decision. It was um it was always, I got sober one time because the girl said she's gonna leave me if I start drinking, something
Right.
like that. Some kind of ultimatum, that I gotta make some ultimatum for something, but this time it was more for myself, man, because I know when I'm drinking, man, my heart's heavy. Like after my brother passed, man, I would drink it every night for like a month, like just to like, man, that's just how I could get to the night. 'Cause it was like, ugh.
Right.
But I knew if I didn't do that, that it would be different. And then you know, my family, I mean, I come from a long line of alcoholics.
Right. Okay.
There's a lot of drug abuse addiction that ran through other parts of my family as well.
Okay.
And
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
I'd be like I'd be like 8 years old. My grandpa, you know, you doing the stick shift for him in the truck because he's got a Bud Light in between his legs. You know what I mean? Driving. Well, that was just the norm. It was just seemed like a normal thing. It was just everyone always drank. Everyone drank in the family. It was just, and I want to teach like my son and my niece and my nephew that my brother left behind, that like I think God's making me like the buck stops with me, because I mean they need to see that somebody doesn't drink,
Right.
and
Hey,
that's
you know what, Dylan? That's making a lot of sense now, because you didn't say that earlier. Like you said, these are things that run in your family. I don't even know if you knew that, because sometimes we don't know these things until it affects you, and then you can see later, okay, maybe it was something even before me that. Because sometimes you start thinking it's you, and like you said, these are traits already in your family. Maybe you didn't know, And it's now better to have that education about that to know now. So now, like you said, you know, and you can stop it, like maybe from going down to your son. And because these become traits when it's already, you know, runs in your blood like that. And sometimes you don't even know it till it's too late, you know?
Yep. Yep. And I'm learning you don't need to drink to have a good time.
Right,
I've been
right.
having a hella good time this last month, and a hella good time accomplishing shit, getting things done, and like and being on point, man. Like, man, when I looked at myself in the mirror this morning, man, I was so grateful for the dude that I saw. I said, man, this is actually pretty cool, man. Like, I like this guy. Like, I'm not stressed all the time. I got less anxiety. I'm sleeping good at night. You know, I dropped like 25 pounds. I've been working out. Like, you know, uh, it would be fun just to go back, but I know I'm gonna feel like shit in the morning, you know,
Right.
and that alcohol back in my system. Like, I'm liking the guy I am who now, and I think a lot of people are liking that guy, man. So I just don't switch it up if you don't need to.
Right. I think that's great, bro. And like I said again, it's all about learning yourself, man, because
Yeah,
you may look at someone else that a friend, or you can hang out with someone that maybe can drink and be okay. You know, but you have to know I can't be okay. That's the thing too. People have to learn themselves because everyone is different. Just like you have people with drug problems, addictions, and you could maybe hang out with someone and they could get on the sick one all night, but be good tomorrow and be back to their regular self. But you can't. So that's
yeah,
the thing too. People have to know themselves and what they're capable of, what they can do, their devices, triggers, and be real with yourself. You know what I mean? So that's the most important thing. And I think you've gotten a grip with that. And another important
thank
thing
you,
is
man.
that spiritual connection, man. God having that spiritual connection is very important. So seems like you got that all intact, bro. And let me say this too, because we're gonna end it soon. I don't want to keep you too late, but
Oh
I
man, I'm
think
good, man. I'm enjoying this conversation.
me too.
G-Lew,
And
the
this is what I love.
G-Lew show,
This is what I love
G-Lew.
about this show is because, you know, we really started off on the interview like about your music and all this, but this has turned into a whole different thing where we're really breaking bread and
Yeah,
getting to some roots of things, man. And this is turned into almost like a testimony, bro. And this
thank
is
you.
what I love about the show because we didn't set to do this. I didn't even know where this was gonna go. We're talking about your music, and this turned into a whole different thing, brother. Where we're breaking bread spiritually and kind of like a testimony, and people can take from this and learn from this. And like I said earlier, we all have our issues, bro. You know what I
Yep,
mean? So this is what I love really about this platform that God has blessed me with, bro, that we can connect, man. And cause like I said again, we connected just talking about music, but now we see a whole different thing here. And I'm sure this has helped us connect too
yeah,
on some greater things. So this is a beautiful thing right here, bro. And you know what I
yeah.
mean? So I'm glad we were able to do this, bro, tonight. And that's God working, bro. You know?
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, and now let's get back a little bit to the music because, like I said, um, in kind of in closing, you have a great body of work now. Everything going on. Where's Dylan at currently now? I know you're going through so many things personally with your life and getting yourself back together. But people would, like I said, if we didn't have this conversation, people would not even notice. They looked at you tonight, just like me, with the flyer and the music, and they're just seeing a guy looking like he's full of life and on top of the world, putting out great music and all this, and then you see all this going on with you personally. So, as a whole, where is Dylan at right now? Where are you at? You let us know where you're at, but where are you at far as with everything going on with your music? Because you got some great music. You say you're going to shoot a video tomorrow. Where are you at full circle with everything right now?
Uh, man, music's in a good place right now. Like, I was thinking about putting out an album. I could put an album out right now if I wanted to. But the attention span of the listeners, since we're in this whole social media age and just swipe and and not show the album as much love as we did back in the day.
Right,
I've just been releasing singles, man, and I put out Slow Motion because I wanted to do something for the summer,
right.
and then
Beautiful
I've
record
been
too.
sitting on
Beautiful
this
record.
Christian record for a couple of months, and when I was home, it was on Saturday or Sunday. I just uploaded everything and submitted everything to release that song. I just felt like I gotta put it out, man. And the people need to hear it. The people need to hear this song. We need something positive right now for what's all going on in our world, man. And everyone's spreading so much. I was talking to my pastor about it. Like, I was gonna do a working on a song and which direction to go, and the pastor said something really powerful. He said, you know, think about it like how Jesus would approach this situation right now. Because if you go in any other way other than how God sees the situation,
Right.
it's like you're still creating division. And regardless of whatever the views are, come at your song from a God's perspective and what the people need to hear from a godly perspective, and just don't create any more division that there is, man. Because shit's hot right now. I mean, things are going crazy, and I've never been one to stand on any side of politics, because I know politics are man-made, and
Right.
they're only created to divide people, to give people different opinions. And there's nothing good that's ever come out of politics. And like my past, it's all man-made. It's all man-made stuff, man. And this is just driving a wedge further and further between our communities and between all our people in the United States, and beyond just deportations, man, and just climate of everything. The United States is going to have to go through a healing process. We're going to have to go through a healing process because, on both sides of the aisle, because, it's just really crazy right now. And I'd rather do something in a song than just type something up on my phone on social media, or just share something, do something that's meaningful, do
Right.
something that's going to create change, and
Right.
and not be part of dividing us even further, but be a part of us in some miraculous way that we can all be united again, man.
Right. Right. I mean, that's all you can do. You have to use, like you said, we could talk, we can preach, we could do all this. But people are, we're in a time where people are kind of going to stand where they're at, believe what they want to believe in. So we have to do the work. You just have to do, like you said, what God is leading you to do that and prepare yourself. And you could do it through the work. Like you said, use what you have, which is your voice, you know what I mean? Your music,
Yeah.
and through that. And that's how you could work through God, through the people. And that's really all you could do. And you're working for God at the same time, because and preparing yourself, you know what I mean, spiritually, mentally, because we're in a time now, like you said, not only the US, the nation as a whole, as the world, it's almost like we're in Revelations right now, literally, you know what I mean? Like the Bible says, the times we're in, how people think, how everything is going right now it's really crazy, bro. And it's like one person can't change the world. We know that. So we just got to do what we can. You know, like you said, putting the shit out positive, man, and doing what you can, using your voice, your music, and put it in songs or whatever, you know what I mean? Just do it that way, bro. And that's all you can really do, because you can't change you can't change the world by yourself. You know what I mean? You could just be the tool, just be the voice, or just like Tupac once said, be the voice to spark it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people take from that and hear you. And that's really all you can do, man. But we're in some trying, crazy times right now, as a whole. And like you said, politics and all that is just not making it better. You know what I mean? I'm the same way. I stand on the side. I don't really get involved in the politic thing, because that's a whole nother thing. It divides. I've seen it personally divide people that I know personally. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother thing. I stay away from that, and I just work. God is my president, my final say in everything, man. I just do it that way, man. And just and just try to just lead. I try to, what's the words I'm looking for? I don't know, but I just try to present myself and put it out that way. You know what I mean? And just when people know me and hear me and speak and the things I do, I try to be an example that way. You know what I mean? And just do it that way. So when people know what I stand for, they know everything is pure. My heart is pure. I don't put out negativity. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect by no means. You know what I mean? By far, but I just try to be an example through myself. You know what I mean? So when people see me, they see God in the best way I can. I'm saying not in the perfect way. I ain't perfect by far. You know what I mean? But I try to just practice being a better person, like we all do every day. That's all we can do. Just try to be better than we were yesterday, bro. Because we're not perfect. I've done shit that I'm definitely not proud of in my life. But as I stand here right before you today, I try to be a better man. You know, and that's all I can do.
Yeah. Amen. G-Lew.
Yeah,
G-Lew.
hey man,
You know,
man.
I think
Hey, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. We're gonna wrap it up, but go ahead.
I just think like we got to be vessels of light, you know, vessels of light. And like how you said about Tupac, be that one little spark, you know, that creates change, or whatever, something that I do that maybe generations behind me, but I sparked a change. Just spark that little light, man, to just people open up and be good to other people and just get right with God, man. And just get right with God. I remember I was on Angel Baby show like 3 weeks ago and started doing the slow motion promo. And, you know, I just said, you know, like, I'm gonna keep doing my positive videos and my uplifting videos, and I'm gonna keep doing it because I'm not gonna let myself being drawn into that trap where, you know, I'm bickering with everyone. Because if anything, man, I just want to unite people, and music is one way to do it. And I'm really grateful that you guys had me on tonight, man. It was a great conversation with you, G-Lew.
Sure.
Glad that we were able to talk, and I'm glad that you had me on your platform and introduced me to your following. I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for everyone that tuned in tonight, and I can't wait for you guys to hear the new song. Gotta feel it in your spirit. I hope it really touches people. The people, you know, I work in the medical field, so when I visit patients, and then you know, sometimes it just feels like God says you need to play them your song real quick, and you need to play them your song real quick, and people will light up. And then to see that reaction from people just from that song, it's like, I think you got a good one. I think we got one that's gonna stick.
Right. That's beautiful, brother. I can't wait to hear it. I was looking for it, but I guess it's not out yet. So
Not out August 12th, man. I'll get you an exclusive, man. I'll email it to you.
please do.
I will email it to you, man.
And I will play it right here as well, too, man. And whenever you want to come back, I would love to do this again. You know what I mean? Because I love connections with people, bro. I'm glad we built this connection tonight, man. And I love, like I said, I love this. This is why I love the show that I have, bro. When we can do this, we start on one thing, because music is really my show is based around music. You know what I mean? But it does so much more as well. You know what I mean? When you see what happened tonight, how God works, bro. So it's a beautiful thing, man. I would love to do this again with you, and I'm gonna be here to support you, whatever you need here. We're always here, bro. I'm always here, and whenever you want to come back, we'll chop it up again about some music or just some spiritual stuff or whatever you want to do, bro.
I'm cool, man. Maybe like 6 months from now and see where we're at.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Dylan Garcia, people. Anything else you want to leave the people with, Dylan, before we get out of here?
Yeah, just you know, just never give up. Like where I live now started from being homeless, getting one spot, and it's all a process. But if you never give up, something good always bound to happen.
That part.
You never give up, something good bound to happen. You never know if you quit.
That part.
You never know if you quit, man. I had so many reasons to give up on myself, man. No support when I was going through my mental health stuff, man. You know, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Well, I got a son on the way, and I know how it feels to feel without a purpose. And those times, you know, I feel like where I ended up now, that God was just strengthening my character. And And when I ask God, and I get the funniest, this is the best response. When I finally had this conversation with God, and I say, God, why did I have to go through this? And this is me asking this question 10 years after, this all started with the mental health stuff.
Right.
Because now you got a better story to tell.
Yes.
Now you got a better story to tell.
Amen.
Back then, you didn't have much of a story. Back then, when you got signed to the record label, you just wanted to be a star, and now this, and now that. Now I need you to have a story to tell.
Wow. And you did, because tonight, that's what you did. I keep saying it. We started this show, people, strictly talking about his music and that right there. But we took a turn, you know what I mean? Because this is all God. We took that turn and we went down that road, and we really learned who Dylan Garcia was, not just who we saw cover the flyer and the great music, but we really learned about Dylan. And like I said, people would never know this deep story. And and that's the thing too, that people don't know, especially when you do music, whatever you do, entertain or whatever, people don't know what's behind all of that, but they see. And that's why we've seen so many stories and heard so many stories over the years of all these great entertainers. Some go out bad, suicide, and all these crazy things. And some people can say, wow, how could that happen when they got everything they want? They're successful and all this, but you don't know sometimes that backstory, you know what I mean? And whatever's going on behind those scenes, you know what I mean? So this is great. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Me too, man.
Some things, and even mental health, because again, that is important today. We see it a lot with mental health. Yep. And a lot of times people don't know what goes on with people who have mental health issues, and you pretty much explained it and showed us personally tonight what that's like, bro. So again, thank you, man, for sharing your story with us tonight, man, and being on my platform. I learned a lot, and again, I'm thankful for this platform, bro, because this is what it's really about.
Yeah, man. Well, it was definitely worth staying up past my bedtime, I'll tell you that.
It's Friday, bro.
I've been rocking and rolling since 4:30 this morning, my man. I wake up early.
I can dig it. Me too, bro. So I can dig it. But it's Friday, so I don't know what you got going on tomorrow. At least you can get a little bit of sleep, maybe. So, but again, thank you, Dylan. I'm tapped in, man. We'll do this again, and I'll be supporting your music. Please give me that exclusive when the song drops and all that, bro. But you got my support right here, and thank you again, Dylan.
Thanks, G-Lew. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, tell them where they can. DD put all.
Oh yeah, you guys can follow me at Dylan Garcia Music, DYLAN Garcia Music on Instagram, or just go to DylanGarciaMusic.com.
That part right there, and video. Follow his YouTube channel too. YouTube, iTunes, music, everything right there. Check them out. And shout out to your supporters. We had a lot of people in here, not only my supporters, but a lot of your supporters I seen tapping in, showing you support. I'm sure you probably couldn't see the chat, but you'll see it when you look back at it. But you got a lot of support here tonight. So thank you, everyone in the chat, for being here tonight. Pralana, I see you. Thank you for the love. My boy Spanks, Melissa, Keisha. Shout out to my producer, DD Hairston, who made this happen. She put this together, and I'm glad she did. Thank you, DD.
Yeah, DD's awesome. And one more shot. It's a great day with Double A. My boy tapped in. It's a great day with Double A.
What up, Double A? Shout out to my moms, even tapped in tonight. What up, Mom?
Yeah, that's cool. Shout out to Mom.
Ulysses, the Profile Pod. What up? And all the support tonight. We thank you, man. This is Dylan Garcia. I am G-Lew. This is the G-Lew Show. Everyone have a blessed weekend. We'll see you next time. We out of here, y'all. Much love, Dylan. Thank you again. Peace, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for Conversation in the Hookah Lounge with DD Hairston, the homie Digital West. Lena Lokes will be on after that Saturday night. You know how she gets down. And then we'll see you Sunday for some gospel thing and Oldies Rule Forever Sundays. And then Sunday, we're going to be going live downtown LA for the Oldie show. So make sure you stay tuned in. This is the G-Lew Show. We out of here, y'all. Peace.